Hi, this is Linda Weldon, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what happened after Dr. Garcia retired, and I was looking for different work. I had tried different times to make friends at the church I attended, but who wanted to be friends with a poor old lady, somebody that didn't have any money? Nobody seemed to be interested in me. And most of them were married, and and things like that. So, it is what it is. I did go to the Bible study, but no one seemed to care that I was without a job. Nobody. I just didn't feel like I was getting the encouragement that you would offer somebody that wasn't working or having a hard time. I just didn't feel like I was getting the emotional support that you would usually get when you're going through a hard time. And I guess because of that, it just made me feel more alone. And the longer I went without a job, the more guilty I felt, because what am I doing wrong? What can I do? I mean, I was doing everything I could, but nothing was happening. Sometimes I just wonder if people thought that I didn't want to work. In fact, years later, after I started working at Brulin, somebody came up to me and asked me, "Are you still working?" Well, kind of that, I thought, what did they think? I'm going to work for a couple of years and then just quit. So that kind of told me what they probably had thought all along, that I wasn't willing to work. During that time, it was kind of interesting too, and that was for like a little over 2 years that this went on. I had 3 different jobs, but they only lasted for a couple of weeks. 3 different times I was fired because I wasn't good enough. Finally, after almost 2 years of not working, it was actually a little over more than 2 years, I found a place called America Works, and I applied there. And it was for people to help find a job that maybe didn't have the skills they needed or whatever. So anyway, I went there, and they paid you a little bit to go there, and you learn to type, and you learn to do this and do that, And I kind of pretty much already knew that, but it's just, there to help. Well, anyway, how this happened, that I got this job at Brulin, went through them. The one guy there told me that I had been there longer than anybody that he had ever been in the program with, that, everybody else had gotten a job, had been there, and I'd been there like for months already. I was the longest one there before I got a job. And I thought, well, what's wrong with me? So, but anyway, he heard about this job at Brulin, and he went and he talked to the human resource lady, and I can't remember her name, but anyway, he told her about me, and she was interested. She wanted me to come in for an interview. So I went in for an interview, and anyway, I didn't hear anything for a while. Anyway, I eventually heard, that she went back and talked to this guy that told her about me, and said, well, I suppose she'll be taken up before long, so I want to hire her. But what was so interesting is that the man that I would be working for in the purchasing department, he was out of the office, and he normally would have interviewed me before I started working there, but he was out of the office because his dad had died, and he was not there. So I came to work on a Monday morning, and here I met my new boss. Rick was a really, really, really nice guy, that my boss there at Brulin. He's a really nice guy, and he was surprised to see me there, because he had not interviewed me, of course. but I worked for him for about a year, and then he passed away. And here I was new, I had never done work like this before, so I was left in the purchasing department kind of on my own. But then his Brad, you know, was there too all the time, but I had nobody to teach me. And so I worked there in that office for about 4 or 5 months or something like that before my last boss, Tony, was hired. And when I worked for him, altogether I worked for Brulin like, I can't remember, it was 13 or 14 years before I retired and moved to Bismarck. But I just want to close this with this, to let you guys know that don't give up on God. I mean, sometimes we think that he doesn't love us, or, you know, he doesn't care about us, but remember that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord, and he's always going to provide for you, and I just want to let you know that.